Ukraine war has not slowed down U.S. support to Taiwan. U.S. says all countries should warn China against Taiwan conflict. Biden intends to speak with Xi to defuse tensions over balloon. You should talk money on your very first date. Growing bird flu epidemic threatens food supply. Meta increases Zuckerberg's security allowance to $14 million. Sermons written by ChatGPT have no soul. Oprah chooses Susan Cain's Bittersweet for book club.
G'day ladies and gentlemen, I'm Cain. Welcome to FUNDAY News and thank you for joining us today. It is Friday, February the 17th and let's start with our top stories. Following a report by US think tank CSIS, the Center for Strategic and International Studies, US Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks said the surge of weapons to Ukraine has not slowed down US support to Taiwan. Hicks added that the US has set a presidential drawdown authority for Taiwan, which will allow the US to send weapons from its own stockpiles instead of arranging new contracts. The US Army is working with Congress to get the authority to do multi-year weapon contracts.
CSIS said the Ukraine model cannot be replicated in Taiwan because China can isolate the island for weeks or even months. Taiwan must start the war with everything it needs. U.S. Assistant Army Secretary for Acquisitions Doug Bush said a future U.S. campaign in the conflict of Taiwan Strait would likely involve much more air power and sea power, taking some of the pressure off land-based systems and ammunition. Since China would use cyber warfare to block communication in Taiwan, CSIS found that issue has the attention of the U.S. Space Force.
U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Wendy Sherman said on Wednesday the United States hoped China would not use any visits by U.S. lawmakers to Taiwan as an excuse for military action, and she urged all countries should warn Beijing against conflict over Taiwan. The media reported after taking over as House Speaker in January, Republican Representative Kevin McCarthy could, as speculation has swirled, visit Taiwan in the near future, possibly in the spring or summer.
In 1991, I spent the weekend with Anita Hill.
Last year, China stepped up military drills around Taiwan as a result of Pelosi's visit. Sherman, the State Department's second-ranked diplomat, drew on Russia's invasion of Ukraine as a lesson for China against any move in the Taiwan Strait, saying the war had increased energy and food insecurity for the whole world. She said, the same would be true of a conflict in the Taiwan Strait, and so, I urge all countries to tell the PRC this affects me. This affects my people, my country. This is not a good idea.
U.S. President Joe Biden sought to ease public concerns about a spate of aerial objects over the U.S. in recent weeks, saying he intends to speak with Chinese President Xi Jinping to defuse tensions over the military downing of an alleged Chinese spy balloon. Biden said on Thursday that intelligence agencies have no indications 3 other downed objects were foreign surveillance aircraft, and he vowed to responsibly manage competition with China so that it doesn't veer into conflict.
Last week, in the immediate aftermath of the incursion by China's high-altitude balloon,
Biden said, we're not looking for a new Cold War, but I make no apologies, and we will compete. The White House said the spy balloon episode revealed a wide-ranging espionage program the Chinese government used to target 40 countries worldwide. U.S. officials have briefed other nations who were overflown by such spy balloons in the past. The U.S. is now working to recover the payload of the Chinese craft as well as the other objects.
A 2022 survey from the North found that being secretive about finances or dishonest about how you're spending your money is one of the biggest deal breakers in a relationship. However, financial services company Western & Southern Financial Group surveyed over 1,000 Americans about their financial triggers and found that 1 in 3 couples waited until after marriage to talk about important financial topics, with salary being the biggest topic they wish they'd all talk about sooner.
Financial activist Dasha Kennedy said couples should be having conversations about money as early as the very first date. She said, when we look at the data, we see that not talking about money or money-related issues is one of the leading causes for divorce. The The Western and Southern Financial Group's January survey echoed some of the NOT's findings, with their survey showing the top 3 financial triggers for fights in relationships came down to spending habits, investments, and salary.
I always needed time on my own. I never thought I'd be here.
I take your blessings with your heartaches too. It's so easy and so wonderful to know it's you.
学习，一切从今天开始。FUNDAY 英语。
Reuters reported that avian flu has reached new corners of the globe and become endemic for the first time in some wild birds. The news agency cited more than 20 experts and farmers on 4 continents as saying the prevalence of the virus in the wild signals that record outbreaks would not abate soon on poultry farms, ramping up threats to the world's food supply. They warned that farmers must view the disease as a serious risk all year instead of focusing prevention efforts during spring migration seasons for wild birds.
On Wednesday, Argentina and Uruguay each declared national sanitary emergencies after officials confirmed the country's first infections. Argentina found the virus in wild birds, while dead swans in Uruguay tested positive. Since a strand arrived in the United States in early 2022, that was genetically similar to cases in Europe and Asia, outbreaks of the virus have widened in North and South America, Europe, Asia, and Africa, undefeated by summer heat or winter cold snaps.
Meta Platform said on Wednesday that it had increased the security allowance given to chief executive and co-founder Mark Zuckerberg and his family by $4 million to $14 million. Meta said in a finding that this increased allowance, together with the cost of Zuckerberg's existing overall security program, are appropriate and necessary under the circumstances. The move comes at a time when the owner of social media platform Facebook and Instagram has cut thousands of jobs.
Zuckerberg said earlier this month that Meta would be flattening its organization structure and removing some layers in middle management to make decisions faster. The WhatsApp owner had cut more than 11,000 jobs or 13% of its workforce in November. The Financial Times reported last week that Meta was preparing for a fresh round of job cuts in March. TRT World reported last year Meta spent $26.8 million to keep Zuckerberg safe in 2021. And the hefty bill seems to be increasing every year for the social media giant.
A rabbi in New York recently told his congregation at the Jewish Center of the Hamptons that he was going to deliver a plagiarized sermon. Upon finishing, he asked the worshippers to guess who wrote it. When they appeared stumped, he revealed that the writer was ChatGPT, responding to his request to write a 1,000-word sermon related to that week's lesson from the Torah. He added, "Now you're clapping, I'm deathly afraid. I thought truck drivers were going to go long before the rabbi in terms of losing our positions to artificial intelligence."
But the rabbi said ChatGPT might be really great at sounding intelligent, but the question is, can it be empathetic? And that, not yet at least, it can't. He noted, those are the things that bring us together. He said AI has yet to develop compassion and love and is unable to build community and relationships. Another pastor also said lazy pastors might be tempted to use AI for this purpose, but not the great shepherds, the ones who love preaching, who love their people.
Oprah Winfrey has chosen Susan Cain's Bittersweet as her new book club pick. Bittersweet, released last year, is the most recent work from the author of Quiet, the 2012 bestseller that contended that introverted people had been misunderstood and overlooked. Winfrey said in a statement on Wednesday that Bittersweet talks about a complicated truth about happiness and has the power to transform the way you see your life and even the world. Winfrey will interview Cain on March 9th for an interactive book club meeting held on the website oprahdaily.com.
Winfrey is a longtime admirer of Cain. In 2013, Winfrey cited Quiet as one of the 40 books to read before age 40, and she featured Bittersweet last spring in her online publication oprahdaily.com. Winfrey said, Susan started a revolution a decade ago with her book Quiet about the power of being an introvert, and her latest book is a revelation on how embracing sadness and heartache can lead you to the path of creativity, connection, and even love. Cain said it's an honor of honors to be selected for the Oprah Book Club.
And here that was for today. Thank you again for being with us today. FUNDAY News will help you improve your English while keeping you informed about international current events at the same time. Should you want to know more about our programs and keep up with the world's most important topics in English, please click the link in the description below to join FUNDAY for free as always. I'm Cain, your host. Until next time.